Hello. It's been so long, and I don't even know where to begin, but this is how my life has looked for the past 4 months. As you can see, well, I guess it's not entirely obvious, but I am not in Brooklyn. I am in Pennsylvania where my parents live. And the reason why I am here is because 4 months ago, my dad got an eye infection that later turned into sepsis. So I moved back home, and life has looked so different ever since. Let's break this up into 3 parts, I guess. I'm going to talk about just the whole story, like the medical drama of it all, followed by basically what it's been like living a small town life, if you will, and what's happening now and what's next. I feel like so much has changed, and I don't even know if this is the video to really talk about it, but I am going to at least try. So this is what happened. I totally thought that my life was going to be so different. January 1st, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, I was performing in Times Square. I played keys for Sophie Ellis-Bextor. Literally such a highlight. Was so excited to start off the year so strong. And then after that, I play NAMM in LA. And right before playing NAMM in LA, I took the LSAT, which I'll talk about later. But I had all these things back to back to back. And on the last day of my trip there, my mom called me and told me that my dad was about to go into surgery. I knew that he had been struggling with like an eye infection a couple days before, but it didn't seem like anything serious. He went to the ER. They sent him home with nothing. And then the eye infection got worse. He went back to the ER and they sent him to an eye specialist. And the eye specialist was like, why don't we get a sample of both of your temples? We're going to do a bilateral temporal biopsy and make sure that you don't have GCA. So he did that. They sent him home. His eye is still infected, by the way. And he didn't have GCA, but his eye got worse. So he went, no. His eye got worse. He went to the eye specialist to do a follow-up on how his temples were doing. And then the doctor took one look at him and they were like, you really need to go to the ER. Your eye is really bad. So he went to the ER and he was waiting in the waiting room for 8 hours. And then by the time they brought him in, he had to be sent to critical care. I felt like a really, really bad movie. It seemed like every single day I would come to the hospital and everyone I've ever talked to is like, you need to be really annoying in the hospital or else like nurses and doctors will just ignore you. It got to the point where one of the doctors was like, hey, like he is not improving and we think it's time to consider removing his eye. And at the time, my dad was in such pain that he was like, yeah, just take it out. But ultimately he was like, I'll leave it up to you, to me. It's like, you can make the call. And the surgeon was like, this is obviously a really like personal thing. So I'm going to let you guys do what you got to do in order to feel good about the decision. And he also was like, by the way, I don't like to do surgery after 9 p.m. So if you don't mind giving me an answer before then. So at 8:30, I gave him a call and then they scheduled my dad to be in the OR and they kick all the visitors out at 9. So yeah, I came home and my mom had the Grammys on and we were just like watching the clock. We were watching Doechii perform and then we were waiting for the clock to strike 9:30 as like it's the ball drop. And my dad would immediately go under the knife at 9:30. So we just like waited. We were lucky enough to have a nurse who told me that she would try her best to make sure that she would give me a call after her surgery to let me know how he was doing. She's like, I can't promise you, but I'm going to really try. And she came through. She called us at around like 11, I think. And she was like, he seems to be in good spirits. He's eating Jello. And that's when like my mom and I, after weeks, we were like, okay, I think this is going to be okay. I think we're going to be all right. The doctors told us that he was going to have to be on IV antibiotics for 6 to 8 weeks and a whole process. You have to take out the medicine an hour beforehand and then flush it with saline and then slowly push the medicine in so as to not cause a lot of pain for the patient. And this all had to be done at home. My mom and I took turns doing the infusions 3 times a day. And so our whole schedule was based on that. When I knew that I was going to be home long term, I went back to New York for a week to move my stuff, pack up, do all the things, clear out my room for a subletter. My cousin and my uncle covered my shift at the hospital and just checked in my dad and kept in company. And yeah, one of the biggest things that I had to learn was drive. So before coming back home, I've always had my license, but I've actually never driven in the car alone. My mom is a full-time caretaker for my brother, who is a severely autistic adult with a high level of needs. So he needs assistance in everything. He's also nonverbal. So she can't leave him alone. So I needed to get on the road, which was absolutely terrifying at first, but honestly became one of the most empowering things. Oh my God, I hate saying that word. It became one of the most empowering things I learned how to do. And, it started off really small, just driving to the gym alone. And then now I just drive, and kind of in the middle of it all, I just have learned to enjoy every single day. So the risers started going crazy and I was talking, but it didn't make any sense. So this is my little aside. Like a lot of people who move out for college, the last time my parents and I lived together was when I was 18, before I went to college in Miami. And when I was a freshman, they moved to Reading, Pennsylvania. So I don't have any real attachments to this place besides it being, I guess, for the past 10 years, the house that I go to for the holidays. And I think there's nothing wrong with that kind of separation. I think it's pretty normal. I think it's pretty normal for for people to feel a certain type of way when they visit their parents after being on their own for a while, where it's like, oh my God, I'm regressing. I guess I'm just a kid again. I just think that after all of this, feel like I've had the privilege of, like, I guess healing. I hate these words. Healing that part of like my experience with my parents, where I think we just went through something traumatic together. We got through it. I can see my parents' humanity, and I think they can respect my maturity and my efforts. And now that everything is calmed down, the boring day-to-day stuff, going to the grocery store, making dinner, doing dishes, walking around the park with my brother, now it feels really earned and really precious because I get to do this as an adult in front of them and know that they have seen me, like, as the person that I am now in a situation that calls for the very best version of me. And I know that maybe this could have been inevitable at some point way down the future in my life, but I got to experience this now and it won't last forever. So that's what I mean by enjoying every single day. I made an old video where I reveal that I'm going to law school in LA.
I will be attending law school in LA.
But the truth is I'm not, because just 2 weeks ago, I got offered a full scholarship to New York Law School, and I'm staying. I can't believe that I have the chance and the privilege to be able to stay in my city, and that I got it. And I will talk more about my law school journey, but I can't believe it that we finished applications in the hospital, and here we are. I fully plan on sharing more and more about my process and my life, because something that I've learned from being here is that I am an artist not because of any sort of stream count or view count. I'm an artist because this is how I need to live my life. Like, I need to create, I need to tell the story, and I need to give myself the space to reflect on everything that I've seen and everything that I've lived through. Um, in a way to celebrate it, in a way to honor it. And I think that that involves telling you about what my real life is like. So thank you for listening. I will see you so soon. If you want to connect more, I'm on everything. I'm going to be posting more, but on Instagram, I've started this series called My Internet Diary. And every day I just post a page of what I would write in my actual diary of things that I do, whether it's glamorous or not. And I am just honored if you're here and you're listening. And I think I think that every I'm not really sure what's going to happen next, but I can't wait to keep talking about it and keep making art about it. So I will see you so soon. Bye.